The new god of inspiration. The new gods of inspiration. The new god of inspiration. The new goddess of inspiration. The new goddesses of inspiration. The new goddess of inspiration. The old god of inspiration. The old gods of inspiration. The old god of inspiration. The old goddess of inspiration. The old goddesses of inspiration. The old goddess of inspiration. The greater god of inspiration. The greater gods of inspiration. The greater god of inspiration. The greater goddess of inspiration. The greater goddesses of inspiration. The greater goddess of inspiration. The lesser god of inspiration. The lesser gods of inspiration. The lesser god of inspiration. The lesser goddess of inspiration. The lesser goddesses of inspiration. The lesser goddess of inspiration. The higher god of inspiration. The higher gods of inspiration. The higher god of inspiration. The higher goddess of inspiration. The higher goddesses of inspiration. The higher goddess of inspiration. The lower god of inspiration. The lower gods of inspiration. The lower god of inspiration. The lower goddess of inspiration. The lower goddesses of inspiration. The lower goddess of inspiration. The greater spirit of inspiration. The greater spirits of inspiration. The greater spirit of inspiration. The lesser spirit of inspiration. The lesser spirits of inspiration. The lesser spirit of inspiration. The higher spirit of inspiration. The higher spirits of inspiration. The higher spirit of inspiration. The lower spirit of inspiration. The lower spirits of inspiration. The lower spirit of inspiration. The major god of inspiration. The major gods of inspiration. The major god of inspiration. The major goddess of inspiration. The major goddesses of inspiration. The major goddess of inspiration. The minor god of inspiration. The minor gods of inspiration. The minor god of inspiration. The minor goddess of inspiration. The minor goddesses of inspiration. The minor goddess of inspiration. The superior god of inspiration. The superior gods of inspiration. The superior god of inspiration. The superior goddess of inspiration. The superior goddesses of inspiration. The superior goddess of inspiration. The inferior god of inspiration. The inferior gods of inspiration. The inferior god of inspiration. The inferior goddess of inspiration. The inferior goddesses of inspiration. The inferior goddess of inspiration. The ancestor god of inspiration. The ancestor gods of inspiration. The ancestor god of inspiration. The ancestor goddess of inspiration. The ancestor goddesses of inspiration. The ancestor goddess of inspiration. The ascendant god of inspiration. The ascendant gods of inspiration. The ascendant god of inspiration. The ascendant goddess of inspiration. The ascendant goddesses of inspiration. The ascendant goddess of inspiration. The descendant god of inspiration. The descendant gods of inspiration. The descendant god of inspiration. The descendant goddess of inspiration. The descendant goddesses of inspiration. The descendant goddess of inspiration. The transcendent god of inspiration. The transcendent gods of inspiration. The transcendent god of inspiration. The transcendent goddess of inspiration. The transcendent goddesses of inspiration. The transcendent goddess of inspiration. The past god of inspiration. The past gods of inspiration. The past god of inspiration. The past goddess of inspiration. The past goddesses of inspiration. The past goddess of inspiration. The present god of inspiration. The present gods of inspiration. The present god of inspiration. The present goddess of inspiration. The present goddesses of inspiration. The present goddess of inspiration. The future god of inspiration. The future gods of inspiration. The future god of inspiration. The future goddess of inspiration. The future goddesses of inspiration. The future goddess of inspiration. The authentic god of inspiration. The authentic gods of inspiration. The authentic god of inspiration. The authentic goddess of inspiration. The authentic goddesses of inspiration. The authentic goddess of inspiration. The synthetic god of inspiration. The synthetic gods of inspiration. The synthetic god of inspiration. The synthetic goddess of inspiration. The synthetic goddesses of inspiration. The synthetic goddess of inspiration. The progressive god of inspiration. The progressive gods of inspiration. The progressive god of inspiration. The progressive goddess of inspiration. The progressive goddesses of inspiration. The progressive goddess of inspiration. The regressive god of inspiration. The regressive gods of inspiration. The regressive god of inspiration. The regressive goddess of inspiration. The regressive goddesses of inspiration. The regressive goddess of inspiration. The ordinary god of inspiration. The ordinary gods of inspiration. The ordinary god of inspiration. The ordinary goddess of inspiration. The ordinary goddesses of inspiration. The ordinary goddess of inspiration. The extraordinary god of inspiration. The extraordinary gods of inspiration. The extraordinary god of inspiration. The extraordinary goddess of inspiration. The extraordinary goddesses of inspiration. The extraordinary goddess of inspiration. The static god of inspiration. The static gods of inspiration. The static god of inspiration. The static goddess of inspiration. The static goddesses of inspiration. The static goddess of inspiration. The dynamic god of inspiration. The dynamic gods of inspiration. The dynamic god of inspiration. The dynamic goddess of inspiration. The dynamic goddesses of inspiration. The dynamic goddess of inspiration. The land god of inspiration. The land gods of inspiration. The land god of inspiration. The land goddess of inspiration. The land goddesses of inspiration. The land goddess of inspiration. The sea god of inspiration. The sea gods of inspiration. The sea god of inspiration. The sea goddess of inspiration. The sea goddesses of inspiration. The sea goddess of inspiration. The sky god of inspiration. The sky gods of inspiration. The sky god of inspiration. The sky goddess of inspiration. The sky goddesses of inspiration. The sky goddess of inspiration. The god of inspiration. The gods of inspiration. The god of inspiration. The goddess of inspiration. The goddesses of inspiration. The goddess of inspiration. The half god of inspiration. The half gods of inspiration. The half god of inspiration. The half goddess of inspiration. The half goddesses of inspiration. The half goddess of inspiration. The vessel of inspiration. The vessels of inspiration. The vessel of inspiration. The name of inspiration. The names of inspiration. The name of inspiration. The person of inspiration. The persons of inspiration. The person of inspiration. The persona of inspiration. The personas of inspiration. The persona of inspiration. The personage of inspiration. The personages of inspiration. The personage of inspiration. The personality of inspiration. The personalities of inspiration. The personality of inspiration. The personification of inspiration. The personifications of inspiration. The personification of inspiration. The image of inspiration. The images of inspiration. The image of inspiration. The imagination of inspiration. The imaginations of inspiration. The imagination of inspiration. The belief of inspiration. The beliefs of inspiration. The belief of inspiration. The thought of inspiration. The thoughts of inspiration. The thought of inspiration. The word of inspiration. The words of inspiration. The word of inspiration. The action of inspiration. The actions of inspiration. The action of inspiration. The reaction of inspiration. The reactions of inspiration. The reaction of inspiration. The feeling of inspiration. The feelings of inspiration. The feeling of inspiration. The situation of inspiration. The situations of inspiration. The situation of inspiration. The circumstance of inspiration. The circumstances of inspiration. The circumstance of inspiration. The environment of inspiration. The environments of inspiration. The environment of inspiration. The relationship of inspiration. The relationships of inspiration. The relationship of inspiration. The number of inspiration. The numbers of inspiration. The number of inspiration. The formula of inspiration. The formulas of inspiration. The formula of inspiration. The equation of inspiration. The equations of inspiration. The equation of inspiration. The theory of inspiration. The theories of inspiration. The theory of inspiration. The symbol of inspiration. The symbols of inspiration. The symbol of inspiration. The color of inspiration. The colors of inspiration. The color of inspiration. The thing of inspiration. The things of inspiration. the thing of inspiration, the way of inspiration, the ways of inspiration, the way of inspiration, the place of inspiration, the places of inspiration, the place of inspiration, the time of inspiration, the times of inspiration, the time of inspiration, the event of inspiration, the events of inspiration, the event of inspiration, the result of inspiration, the results of inspiration, the result of inspiration, the crown of inspiration, the crowns of inspiration, the crown of inspiration, the throne of inspiration, the thrones of inspiration, the throne of inspiration, the inspiration king, the inspiration kings, the inspiration kingdom, the inspiration kingdoms, the inspiration king's subject, the inspiration king's subjects, the inspiration king's dominion, the inspiration king's dominions, the kingdom of inspiration, the kingdoms of inspiration, the kingdom of inspiration, the inspiration queen, the inspiration queens, the inspiration queendom, the inspiration queendoms, the inspiration queen subject, the inspiration queen subjects, the inspiration queen's dominion, the inspiration queen's dominions, the queendom of inspiration, the queendoms of inspiration, the queendom of inspiration, the inspiration prince, the inspiration princes, the inspiration princedom, the inspiration princedoms, the inspiration prince's subject, the inspiration prince's subjects, the inspiration prince's dominion, the inspiration prince's dominions, the princedom of inspiration, the princedoms of inspiration, the princedom of inspiration, the inspiration princess, the inspiration princesses, the inspiration princessdom, the inspiration princessdoms, the inspiration princess's subject, the inspiration princess's subjects, the inspiration princess's dominion, the inspiration princess's dominions, the princessdom of inspiration, the princessdoms of inspiration, the princessdom of inspiration, the lord of inspiration, the lords of inspiration, the lord of inspiration, the lordess of inspiration, the lordesses of inspiration, the lordess of inspiration, the priest of inspiration, the priests of inspiration, the priest of inspiration, the priestess of inspiration, the priestesses of inspiration, the priestess of inspiration, the ritual of inspiration, the rituals of inspiration, the ritual of inspiration, the shrine of inspiration, the shrines of inspiration, the shrine of inspiration, the temple of inspiration, the temples of inspiration, the temple of inspiration, the leader of inspiration, the leaders of inspiration, the leader of inspiration, the follower of inspiration, the followers of inspiration, the follower of inspiration, the natural substance of inspiration, the natural substances of inspiration, the natural substance of inspiration, the supernatural substance of inspiration, the supernatural substances of inspiration, the supernatural substance of inspiration, the temporal substance of inspiration, the temporal substances of inspiration, the temporal substance of inspiration, the spiritual substance of inspiration, the spiritual substances of inspiration, the spiritual substance of inspiration, the natural form of inspiration, the natural forms of inspiration, the natural form of inspiration, the supernatural form of inspiration, the supernatural forms of inspiration, the supernatural form of inspiration, the temporal form of inspiration, the temporal forms of inspiration, the temporal form of inspiration, the spiritual form of inspiration, the spiritual forms of inspiration, the spiritual form of inspiration, the age of inspiration, the ages of inspiration, the age of inspiration, the era of inspiration, the eras of inspiration, the era of inspiration, the awakener of inspiration, the awakeners of inspiration, the awakener of inspiration, the awakening of inspiration, the awakenings of inspiration, the awakening of inspiration, the realm of inspiration, the realms of inspiration, the realm of inspiration, the dimension of inspiration, the dimensions of inspiration, the dimension of inspiration, the zone of inspiration, the zones of inspiration, the zone of inspiration, the frequency of inspiration, the frequencies of inspiration, the frequency of inspiration, the century of inspiration, The centuries of inspiration. The century of inspiration. The millennium of inspiration. The millenniums of inspiration. The millennium of inspiration. The purpose of inspiration. The purposes of inspiration. The purpose of inspiration. The meaning of inspiration. The meanings of inspiration. The meaning of inspiration. The culture of inspiration. The cultures of inspiration. The culture of inspiration. The demonstrator of inspiration. The demonstrators of inspiration. The demonstrator of inspiration. The demonstration of inspiration. The demonstrations of inspiration. The demonstration of inspiration. The manifester of inspiration. The manifestors of inspiration. The manifester of inspiration. The manifestation of inspiration. The manifestations of inspiration. The manifestation of inspiration. The presence of inspiration. The presences of inspiration. The presence of inspiration. The glow of inspiration. The glows of inspiration. The glow of inspiration. The goal of inspiration. The goals of inspiration. The goal of inspiration. The plan of inspiration. The plans of inspiration. The plan of inspiration. The book of inspiration. The books of inspiration. The book of inspiration. The philosopher of inspiration. The philosophers of inspiration. The philosopher of inspiration. The philosophy of inspiration. The philosophies of inspiration. The philosophy of inspiration. The releaser of inspiration. The releasers of inspiration. The releaser of inspiration. The release of inspiration. The releases of inspiration. The release of inspiration. The variable of inspiration. The variables of inspiration. The variable of inspiration. The cause of inspiration. The causes of inspiration. The cause of inspiration. The effect of inspiration. The effects of inspiration. The effect of inspiration. The journey of inspiration. The journeys of inspiration. The journey of inspiration. The emergence of inspiration. The emergences of inspiration. The emergence of inspiration. The source of inspiration. The sources of inspiration. The source of inspiration. The originator of inspiration. The originators of inspiration. The originator of inspiration. The origin of inspiration. The origins of inspiration. The origin of inspiration. The forefather of inspiration. The forefathers of inspiration. The forefather of inspiration. The foremother of inspiration. The foremothers of inspiration. The foremother of inspiration. The ancestor of inspiration. The ancestors of inspiration. The ancestor of inspiration. The descendant of inspiration. The descendants of inspiration. The descendant of inspiration. The lineage of inspiration. The lineages of inspiration. The lineage of inspiration. The heritage of inspiration. The heritages of inspiration. The heritage of inspiration. The heir of inspiration. The heirs of inspiration. The heir of inspiration. The co-heir of inspiration. The co-heirs of inspiration. The co-heir of inspiration. The joint heir of inspiration. The joint heirs of inspiration. The joint heir of inspiration. The dynasty of inspiration. The dynasties of inspiration. The dynasty of inspiration. The force of inspiration. The forces of inspiration. The force of inspiration. The law of inspiration. The laws of inspiration. The law of inspiration. The pact of inspiration. The pacts of inspiration. The pact of inspiration. The game of inspiration. The games of inspiration. The game of inspiration. The mask of inspiration. The masks of inspiration. The mask of inspiration. The armor of inspiration. The armors of inspiration. The armor of inspiration. The sword of inspiration. The swords of inspiration. The sword of inspiration. The shield of inspiration. The shields of inspiration. The shield of inspiration. The force shield of inspiration. The force shields of inspiration. The force shield of inspiration. The armored force shield of inspiration. The armored force shields of inspiration. The armored force shield of inspiration. The champion of inspiration. The champions of inspiration. The champion of inspiration. The guardian of inspiration. The guardians of inspiration. The guardian of inspiration. The defender of inspiration. The defenders of inspiration. The defender of inspiration. The protector of inspiration. The protectors of inspiration. The protector of inspiration. The chant of inspiration. the chance of inspiration, the chant of inspiration, the shape of inspiration, the shapes of inspiration, the shape of inspiration, the cube of inspiration, the cubes of inspiration, the cube of inspiration, the cuboid of inspiration, the cuboids of inspiration, the cuboid of inspiration, the sphere of inspiration, the spheres of inspiration, the sphere of inspiration, the spheroid of inspiration, the spheroids of inspiration, the spheroid of inspiration, the prism of inspiration, the prisms of inspiration, the prism of inspiration, the pyramid of inspiration, the pyramids of inspiration, the pyramid of inspiration, the cylinder of inspiration, the cylinders of inspiration, the cylinder of inspiration, the cone of inspiration, the cones of inspiration, the cone of inspiration, the triangle of inspiration, the triangles of inspiration, the triangle of inspiration, the circle of inspiration, the circles of inspiration, the circle of inspiration, the semicircle of inspiration, the semicircles of inspiration, the semicircle of inspiration, the square of inspiration, the squares of inspiration, the square of inspiration, the rectangle of inspiration, the rectangles of inspiration, the rectangle of inspiration, the parallelogram of inspiration, the parallelograms of inspiration, the parallelogram of inspiration, the rhombus of inspiration, the rhombuses of inspiration, the rhombus of inspiration, the trapezoid of inspiration, the trapezoids of inspiration, the trapezoid of inspiration, the polygon of inspiration, the polygons of inspiration, the polygon of inspiration, the pentagon of inspiration, the pentagons of inspiration, the pentagon of inspiration, the hexagon of inspiration, the hexagons of inspiration, the hexagon of inspiration, the septagon of inspiration, the septagons of inspiration, the septagon of inspiration, the octagon of inspiration, the octagons of inspiration, the octagon of inspiration, the nonagon of inspiration, the nonagons of inspiration, the nonagon of inspiration, the decagon of inspiration, the decagons of inspiration, the decagon of inspiration, the evolution of inspiration, the evolutions of inspiration, the evolution of inspiration, the revolution of inspiration, the revolutions of inspiration, the revolution of inspiration, the elemental art of inspiration, the elemental arts of inspiration, the elemental art of inspiration, the elemental science of inspiration, the elemental sciences of inspiration, the elemental science of inspiration, the elemental principle of inspiration, the elemental principles of inspiration, the elemental principle of inspiration, the elemental technology of inspiration, the elemental technologies of inspiration, the elemental technology of inspiration, the low elemental art of inspiration, the low elemental arts of inspiration, the low elemental art of inspiration, the low elemental science of inspiration, the low elemental sciences of inspiration, the low elemental science of inspiration, the low elemental principle of inspiration, the low elemental principles of inspiration, the low elemental principle of inspiration, the low elemental technology of inspiration, the low elemental technologies of inspiration, the low elemental technology of inspiration, the high elemental art of inspiration, the high elemental arts of inspiration, the high elemental art of inspiration, the high elemental science of inspiration, the high elemental sciences of inspiration, the high elemental science of inspiration, the high elemental principle of inspiration, the high elemental principles of inspiration, the high elemental principle of inspiration, the high elemental technology of inspiration, the high elemental technologies of inspiration, the high elemental technology of inspiration, the agent of inspiration, the agents of inspiration, the agent of inspiration, the agency of inspiration, the agencies of inspiration, the agency of inspiration, the amplifier of inspiration, the amplifiers of inspiration, the amplifier of inspiration, the amplification of inspiration, the amplifications of inspiration, the amplification of inspiration, the enhancer of inspiration, the enhancers of inspiration, the enhancer of inspiration, the enhancement of inspiration, the enhancements of inspiration, the enhancement of inspiration, the magnifier of inspiration, The magnifiers of inspiration. The magnifier of inspiration. The magnification of inspiration. The magnifications of inspiration. The magnification of inspiration. The influencer of inspiration. The influencers of inspiration. The influencer of inspiration. The influence of inspiration. The influences of inspiration. The influence of inspiration. The emanator of inspiration. The emanators of inspiration. The emanator of inspiration. The emanation of inspiration. The emanations of inspiration. The emanation of inspiration. The converger of inspiration. The convergers of inspiration. The converger of inspiration. The convergence of inspiration. The convergences of inspiration. The convergence of inspiration. The aura of inspiration. The auras of inspiration. The aura of inspiration. The impression of inspiration. The impressions of inspiration. The impression of inspiration. The intelligence of inspiration. The intelligences of inspiration. The intelligence of inspiration. The sophistication of inspiration. The sophistications of inspiration. The sophistication of inspiration. The genius of inspiration. The geniuses of inspiration. The genius of inspiration. The polymath of inspiration. The polymaths of inspiration. The polymath of inspiration. The psychic of inspiration. The psychics of inspiration. The psychic of inspiration. The knowledge of inspiration. The knowledges of inspiration. The knowledge of inspiration. The understanding of inspiration. The understandings of inspiration. The understanding of inspiration. The wisdom of inspiration. The wisdoms of inspiration. The wisdom of inspiration. The secret of inspiration. The secrets of inspiration. The secret of inspiration. The mystery of inspiration. The mysteries of inspiration. The mystery of inspiration. The revelation of inspiration. The revelations of inspiration. The revelation of inspiration. The tactic of inspiration. The tactics of inspiration. The tactic of inspiration. The strategy of inspiration. The strategies of inspiration. The strategy of inspiration. The strength of inspiration. The strengths of inspiration. The strength of inspiration. The might of inspiration. The mights of inspiration. The might of inspiration. The power of inspiration. The powers of inspiration. The power of inspiration. The authority of inspiration. The authorities of inspiration. The authority of inspiration. The dominion of inspiration. The dominions of inspiration. The dominion of inspiration. The rhythm of inspiration. The rhythms of inspiration. The rhythm of inspiration. The melody of inspiration. The melodies of inspiration. The melody of inspiration. The music of inspiration. The musics of inspiration. The music of inspiration. The lyric of inspiration. The lyrics of inspiration. The lyric of inspiration. The song of inspiration. The songs of inspiration. The song of inspiration. The dance of inspiration. The dances of inspiration. The dance of inspiration. The spirit of inspiration. The spirits of inspiration. The spirit of inspiration. The soul of inspiration. The souls of inspiration. The soul of inspiration. The body of inspiration. The bodies of inspiration. The body of inspiration. The mark of inspiration. The marks of inspiration. The mark of inspiration. The promise of inspiration. The promises of inspiration. The promise of inspiration. The visionary of inspiration. The visionaries of inspiration. The visionary of inspiration. The vision of inspiration. The visions of inspiration. The vision of inspiration. The picture of inspiration. The pictures of inspiration. The picture of inspiration. The sound of inspiration. The sounds of inspiration. The sound of inspiration. The dung of inspiration. The dungs of inspiration. The dung of inspiration. The language of inspiration. The languages of inspiration. The language of inspiration. The communication of inspiration. The communications of inspiration. The communication of inspiration. The people of inspiration. The peoples of inspiration. The people of inspiration. The society of inspiration. The societies of inspiration. The society of inspiration. The fortress of inspiration. The fortresses of inspiration. The fortress of inspiration. The government of inspiration. The governments of inspiration. The government of inspiration. The city of inspiration. The cities of inspiration. The city of inspiration. The nation of inspiration. The nations of inspiration. The nation of inspiration. The civilization of inspiration. The civilizations of inspiration. The civilization of inspiration. The world of inspiration. The worlds of inspiration. The world of inspiration.